Hello, and here's a quick look, an out of the box as it were, of the Army Painter Survivor's Paint set. This is for Zombicide, which I think is a cool mini or not miniatures game, and they've been doing some colour sets for them. Now this comes in at about $16.95 Canadian, and you get 6 colours all up. They're basically designed to just cover the survivors of one of the sets. So although it's zombie centered, it's for the survivors. So these are just sort of base colours rather than specific sort of horror colours. So you could use them on all sorts of fantasy figures. And I picked it up because when I first experienced Army Painter, it was several years ago, and I think from memory it came in a Mantic box. It came with some skeletons and some paint, and I was particularly unimpressed at that time. The paints didn't feel very solid. They didn't feel very robust. They separated. They just didn't feel very good. But I tried the spray cans recently, and that was because I needed white, and where I normally go, like I usually bought GW's white, and it wasn't possible at that time to get it, and GW's is about $20 and Army Painters is $12.95, and that was an added bonus. I went, oh wow, that's a big difference. So I had the opportunity to pick it up, so I picked it up, and I love it. I've used the black, the white, the blue, and the red, and they all spray incredible. So I thought, if that's the case, maybe they've changed their game. So as it's been several years, I decided to pick up. I picked up one colour the other week, and then I picked up this set. They have bigger sets, and they have a couple of different zombie ones. I think they actually have a zombie set, which is like the zombie colours, as well as their regular fantasy range, which they've been expanding. So I thought this was a good time to pick them up and, see what we got. And it wasn't too expensive, and the colours in here, yeah, I have most of them in a way close to this shade, but it's okay. It's always good to have different shades, and you never know when you're gonna need it. So I thought I'd grab it. And I will be painting a Reaper Miniatures, a one of their Dark Heavens, female pirate captain. I picked up. It's one of their metal figures. I will have to add a colour. I was going to paint it entirely with this set. That was the plan. However, her gun has wood, and there is no wood brown or a brown in there that would substitute. So I will see if I can experiment a tiny bit, but it's not a hard and fast rule that I set for myself that I'm going to paint that figure 100% with the Army Painter set. But let's say it's going to be 90%. The only time I will try something different will be if the colour cannot be done here. So that's sort of the plan. So the main thing with it was a big test for myself. I mean, yeah, we're going to review it, but really I'm looking always as a painter for different styles of paint, different brands that do things that I like. I'm a huge fan of Reaper paints. I love their colours, I love the way they paint, and their price. They're a good price. I used to use a lot of Leo Air, and it's funny, the joke I used to keep getting was, so you airbrush that, right? So well, that's what it's made for, but I brush painted it. And they kept like, why would you have done that? And really it's because it brush painted very well. But now I found some of the other brands have been just improving, and they're much cheaper than Vallejo. So I started to move towards them. I do like Games Workshop paints. A lot of people say, why don't I use them? Simple reason, it's a boring reason. It's not hate, it's just the price. They're about $4.95 here. Reaper paints are at least $1 cheaper, and the Army Painter is on par roughly with Reaper. So It's not a hate against Games Workshop's paints. I do use some of their colours, but I just don't use them en masse like I used to, just simply because of price, and that's it. That's the only reason. There's nothing wrong with their paints at all. They make good quality, solid paints. So in the box we get 6, which I thought wasn't bad for $16.95, and it comes in a nice little protective plastic container. And they have on them their own printing for the Zombicide. So, what do we get? It opens nice and easy, though I won't be keeping them in here once they're out. There's no reason to. And I thought it was an interesting choice of what they gave for some of it. They are not as thin, I think, as Reaper. One thing I like about Reaper is they put an agitator in there. It used to be a skull, which I thought was awesome. And I hope they do that again. Last one I got was just a little bead, which is boring. Having a skull was awesome, and you could also, when you used up your paint, you could use them. So you get Babe Blonde. Not sure I would want that Babe, but it's a nice yellow. This is designed for hair. It's a little bit exaggerated, but for a game about zombies you can sort of go with exaggerated colours. You can also, obviously, with fantasy, sort of characters and that, you can also go exaggerated colours and it's not bad. So my pirate will be a Babe Blonde. Survivor Skin, this is their skin tone. I don't know how it compares to their other skin tones. I don't know how many they have. It's something I'm going to look into to see what ones they have, what different skin tones. This is meant to be a set specifically for Zombicide, not just ones they pulled from their regular range and wrapped a Zombicide thing on. So that's meant to be a new shade of skin. Combat Fatigues. This one's actually kind of cool, and it's not far off some of the military colours. You could conceivably use this for bolt action, possibly for some of the armies that use this sort of light green for their uniforms. It's not going to be exact, but it's not that far off, and I think that's pretty cool, and I will definitely be using that one on multiple figures. Not quite sure yet what I'll use this green on the Pirate Chickie for yet, but light denim, and this is what her main coat's going to be. I will be using this shade for her coat. So she's going to be a more pastel-y pirate, not a bright colour. And being denim, you could use this for denim coats or jeans, is I expect what they're sort of saying. One you can never have too many of: machine gun metal. So they must have had a bolt gun already. Not quite sure how this will differ. Might be a little bit darker, or maybe it's a little bit lighter, not sure. But always good to have metals. I've never used their metals, so this will be interesting to see how it shapes up. And the last one was kind of cool, and not one that I expected. Survivor Shader. So this is they call them, I'm assuming this is a wash. It's also, I don't know why we have different coloured lids. The metals, unless all the metals have a black lid, all regular colours have a white lid, and shades have a red lid. If they do, that's a good idea. It will instantly tell you what you're looking at, so you shouldn't mess up. It's sometimes, you should always double check, but if you're rushing, which sometimes happens, you can grab something you think was a paint and it's a wash. I mean, you're not going to make the mistake before you put it on you know, like once you put on the figure sort of thing, you're not going to get to that point. You just when you squeeze it out. So still, if you know right away that this is the wash, and I'm assuming that's what it is. I assume that they're just using shader as a wash. So, but I thought this was an interesting thing to include in the pack. So that's cool. I think that's a really good idea. And I'm certainly was always wanting to try their stuff. I don't like the idea of the dipping one. They come with the cans and you dip them in. I don't like that. But this just looks like it's going to be brushed straight on. So I'm very interested in trying this one out. So they're the 6 you get. And that's how they're sort of picturing it on the back. And I will definitely be, if these shape up to be okay, and seeing how they go on the Pirate Chickie, I'll certainly be picking up more of these and using them. So I'm hoping they're going to be good, because we need more paint companies. It's cool to have a couple of really good ones, but they don't always push themselves when they're on top. Having some other companies out there that are releasing different shades and different ideas and different concepts, I think that's a really good thing. And Army Paint has come a long way with their spray cans, and this I love. Super Glue Magic. It's an activator. And what it does, and this is so amazing. This is I think the problem with this is instant proof that a modeling god exists. Because the idea is something so useful could never have developed on its own. And what this does is instantly hard super glue. And people have said, well, why is that important? Like, big deal. Well, the big deal is, imagine you're working on something heavy, a Reaper Ogre in metal with a big shield, which I've got up there. You put your super glue on, and although it's a decent join at the arm, it's a reasonably solid join, it's not a tiny join, but still you've got to put your super glue on, and then you have to hold it in place, and sometimes you can hold it for a while and you think you're doing cool and you let go and it falls off. What this does, you put your super glue on, you hold it in place, you go psst, hold it for a couple of seconds, let go, and it should be hard, it should be done. And that takes out so much work with larger scale figures. Night models, the 72 mils, we used to have loads of fun with some of their big ones because they did amazing figures, but getting them together sometimes was a bit of an adventure. And even their 32 mil Batman and Marvel range sometimes has the same sort of issues. So this, like Batgirl that I have, she fantastic pose, full run with a massive cape that's fanning out behind her. It looks great, but that cape is only joining around her neck, and it's metal, so there's weight. So getting to use this, holding it in place, and psst, oh geez, what a great idea. So I'm becoming a big fan of them, and they also have branched out into stuff like this, which is different. There's a whole bunch of these different colours. I picked up the Woodland Tuft because I got some Woodland figs coming up, and you basically just peel them off here and put them down on your base, and you've got instant tuft, and it was $7. Some people said that's expensive, and on one hand I can see, yeah, it is, but this will do a fair few bases for what it is, and I think that that's quite cool. And you know, anything that you can do to speed up your process, but more importantly give you a quality look for your figures, is really important. And these sort of products can help you do a nice base, whether it's a 40k figure, whether it's bolt action, whether it's just a static figure that you're painting, like the Pirate Captain. She's going to be used in an RPG, but other than that she's not a game piece. Any of these sort of things, it's amazing to have these sort of products. And you know, I think it's a great thing, and Army Paint has really been branching out and trying some stuff, and I think they deserve at least having people give them a go, because they're obviously trying to help the hobby as well. Obviously they're trying to make a profit, but I mean, they're not just churning out the same crap over and over again, trying to get people just to buy it. They're trying to come up with good ideas and solid ideas and things that are different. So I'm becoming a big fan. So I am really hoping that these paints are going to live up to my expectations. But we will see how they do. And Female Pirate Captain, not exactly an inspiring name, is it? They could have. She's a cool figure. They could have given her a name. Just Female Pirate Captain. Is there only one? So you could get away with that? Because there's not going to be any form of confusion. There's just the Female Pirate Captain. Anyway, we'll see how she paints. Thanks for watching.